Hi Facebook fans, we're here for the Midday Roast, and I have a few different faces with me today. Well, really just Pittman. This is Pittman Ware, he's a senior account executive.
Hi.
And John Morgan, our director of SEO, so he's here, our SEO manager. You'll notice that Lanny and Wes are not here as members of the team because they are actually representing us for Arkansas Business of the Year. We're finalists for that, and we're really excited to see how that goes. So we're hopeful and excited to bring it home this year. One of the things that we want to talk about today on the Midday Roast is about hyper-local marketing and what that means and how that affects businesses from a search standpoint, from a campaign standpoint. And so today we're going to be talking about hyper-local. So I'm going to open it up to Pittman. Pittman, you work with a lot of local businesses here in Little Rock. So kind of when they're asking about local, what kind of questions do they have?
Well, they have a lot of questions because there's not always a great understanding of what local means when it comes to SEO or their digital marketing or Facebook or any of these kind of topics. So what some of the questions I get are I am not showing up on online and online search. I feel like I'm invisible, and a lot of times people don't realize the importance of all of the online directories that are out there, and they've got some, directories that are competing against each other because they recently moved offices or moved stores, or they have 3 different locations around town and they don't know how to properly set that up. So they aren't showing up in those searches because they've got all this competing info and Google doesn't know what to serve who. Another big topic I get from a lot of my retail clients is that they sell brands, right? They sell national brands, but they don't know how to sell that locally online. And I'm not talking about competing against Amazon, but what I'm talking about is they sell a Patagonia vest, or they sell Ice Chest, what's the big brand that everybody likes? Yeti. They sell Yeti, so they want to show up because they know that their customers are going to be going in and looking for a Canon camera or a Yeti Ice Chest. But they want people to know that they sell those in store.
Absolutely.
So how do they localize those brands for their local customers and make sure that they're just as much a part of that digital shopping experience as they are when people are going in store and browsing? Yep,
that absolutely makes sense. And I'm going to segue that over to John. Before I do, be sure to, if you're watching this video, please be sure to share it. We've had some time for Facebook to build our audience, and so share it with your friends. Especially tag any of your local business owner friends who have these same questions or concerns. I know I see it on my news feed often where people are looking for recommendations or how to do these things. So we ask you to share, leave questions, and Grace will stop us and let us know if you've got anything coming for us. Okay, so John, Pittman has just talked about how businesses are looking for solutions to make their business show up. And so what kind of things are we talking about? What kind of thing is, I think you talked about online directories or local listings. So John, talk to me about local listings. Tell me what that is.
Sure, yeah, and there are a lot of different things that we can do from an online marketing perspective to bring visibility to people on a local level. Obviously, a local mom and pop shop isn't going to be competing with a lot of big brands across the country, but they're going to have a local market and a local target audience that's going to be searching. And really what we look at is looking at keywords that people are searching and they're using local intent. And so that's a big part of that.
Okay, so you just use local intent.
Right.
Talk to me about local intent.
Right, so local intent means that somebody, when they search for a product or a service or sometimes even a brand, if there are multiple opportunities for that to rank in a city, they're going to be looking and they're going to be searching with either the city or state within the query itself. So that could be like Walmart in Bryant. If you were new to Bryant, Arkansas, and you just moved there, you didn't know where the Walmart was, for goodness sakes, you got to find out where that is. So you're going to use the city modifier. There are a lot of Walmarts, but we want to make sure that we see the one for Bryant. The other kind of localizing query is if people search and they don't include the city or city-state combo, they'll throw in near me or nearby. And so that, in that sense, they're relying on Google to know where they are and show them local results. So those are big opportunities for people, and a lot of times Pittman was talking about Sometimes customers don't really understand how people search to get to them. What are people looking for to find the product or solution that the client offers? And so that's a big step to getting the visibility that people need. Sometimes the client may be thinking that customers are searching using specific keywords or specific phrases, but that's not what people are actually searching. And so keyword researching to find out what people are actually searching, finding the volume behind those keywords is a big hurdle, and it's a big step in our strategy. So when optimizing, when trying to make your site local or making your brand local and making it available to people within a specific hyper-local city, the big things that we can do are on-site stuff, and so that would be on the client's website, assuming they do have a website. And then the second thing that we can do is obviously go out and do the online directories, claim online listings, and so that's those are the two different things.
And I'd like to follow up on a point when he talks about the importance of looking at your keywords from a local perspective. I think this works both ways for not just mom and pops who are going to know they do have some kind of intuition about how their customers do search, and then there are folks that or companies that may be based like I have a restaurant client here. It's a franchise. It's in several different states, both in the on the East Coast and the South and a little bit in the North. And that's something like we say Coke down here, and it means everything.
Yes.
They may say pop in the North, or soda on the East Coast.
Right.
So it's also looking at your digging into your analytics, and also looking at what are those keywords in each different market, and how do I need to adapt that strategy if I'm trying to localize my brand marketing in different markets.
Well, and that's definitely, I think that's a great point to add in. And I think it's that there's not just a blanket answer when it comes to online or any type of digital marketing strategy, right? There's a scalable plan that adapts, and one of the words you use is modifier. So it can be, modifier can be the city that you're in or state, or it can be, how that would change from Little Rock to North Little Rock. That is a modifier, right? It can also be like a steak restaurant as opposed to best restaurant. Best is a great modifier that a lot of people use or want to show up for. So I think that those are all great points, and that we have to really identify who the audience is and who our market is, right? But one of the things I want to go back to, so we talked about all the great stuff here. We talked about the pain points of I need to show up. You talked about intent. Talk to me about intent, because when I'm thinking intent, I'm thinking, somebody's going to know if I search restaurants near me, which part of that is search, which part of that is an ad, which part of that is a directory. So when we're saying directories, let's walk through that process together. And actually, Grace, I'm going to get close to the camera, and we're going to walk through this example, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so I've got Google pulled up. So let's say restaurants, the modifier maybe near me. Is that one of the things we talked about?
Your nails look great, Whitney.
Oh my God, thanks, girl. Restaurants near me. Okay, so I just did a search. So
one of my favorite searches personally. We go way back. But so when you type that in these days, and this has changed over the past couple of years, and Google has really tried to adapt the search experience to fit more on mobile, and so that's reflected on desktop. But Whitney, when we're looking at the mobile device, what I would expect to see is a map at the top of the results, and then you've got a few listings that correspond with the pins that show up on the map, and so those are going to be the business names and some information about the business. And so typically we see about 3, and those are really high visibility opportunities for a business to show up. And Google wants that business to be local, and it wants it to be super relevant to the query. And not only that, but we want that result to satisfy users. So how does Google know what is a satisfactory result, or how does Google know that people are going to have a positive experience when they go to that restaurant? That's where user metrics come into play a lot. So, for example, if I go to a restaurant and I have a bad experience or a good experience, really positive experience, I'm going to leave a review. And so that's where review monitoring comes into play a lot. And so if a business has 30 4 to 5 star reviews, then they're going to be more likely to show up than a business with a few positive reviews or a few bad reviews or a lot of bad reviews.
So reviews, if I'm looking at this right now, so Whole Hog Cafe has a 4.5 review, and so that's telling me the stars
Solid.
tell me what they are. It shows me a number that is. And so is the order here based on my physical location right now, or is this based on review? Did that push it to the top, or is it just on my location based on the search restaurants near me?
Great question. And really there are a lot of different factors that play into local results. And so I was just reading some recent research, and what they're saying is that what typically correlates really highly with the local right now, especially when you do a search like near me, if you don't have a city, state modifier in there or anything like that. Well, what's interesting is that the physical location doesn't matter as much as it used to now. And what's a big player right now is the actual, having positive reviews, having a lot of good reviews, drives people to the top. I mean, I think Google has come to an understanding that the closest result isn't always the best result, even if they have decent reviews. Sometimes, and I know for me personally, I'm more willing to drive. I would drive twice as far. I mean, if it was a 5-minute drive for one place and they had so-so reviews, I would drive 10 minutes for a place with stellar reviews. And I think Google understands that, and that's within the city limits. So being within a city's physical limits is also correlates extremely highly. But they've really modified their local algorithm to say, okay, well, people are flexible and they're willing to travel a little bit.
One of the things that I see on here, I think that's great feedback. And Pittman, I want to ask you this question. So I'm back at my restaurants near me search results, and there's filters at the top for any price, any rating, any hour. So I'm able to filter my results.
Right.
One of the things that, how important is it to a business to have accurate information on their listings to be able to manage that? Or, you were also talking about your restaurant, your franchise, and did they open? What if they bought a previous restaurant, so they had to change it out? Like those kind of things really happen, right? And it's getting Google to swap out your information with accurate information is a challenge, right?
Yeah, that's incredibly important. If the restaurant likely moved, it's incredibly important that you immediately update your location. And then when it comes to things like hours, hours. Any kind of information about whether it's kid friendly or any of that, it's all going to factor into. It's all going to go back to search, right? I mean, this is Google is looking at restaurants that are open till 9, or restaurants that are open till 10, restaurants that are family friendly. This is all information that you can put in that Google listing, and then of course on other restaurant listings as well.
Right.
Google's going to pull from all of that.
Yeah, it's not only Google that's at play here. I mean, obviously you can claim stuff on Google My Business, but people still rely on other local directories, depending on the vertical that they're in. That sometimes there are local listing services that are super relevant to certain service lines or verticals, and so you want to make sure you have all the bases covered. So TripAdvisor would be relevant to hotels, or Yelp is relevant to like restaurants
and Motto,
beyond.
Which bought Urban Spoon. And I would say, if you own a restaurant or any kind of store, a road facing business, one of the first things you need to go look at, if you haven't looked at your Google Plus or your Google My Business profile, is look at that picture they've got up of you.
Okay, wait, hold on. So you're telling me, I'm coming back to the couch. So you're telling me that there is a Google My Business. Do I already have access to, like, if I just open it, how do I know if I have a Google My Business?
Well, the first thing you do is search yourself.
Okay.
You're up there. Whether you
everyone
put you're
does
up
that.
there,
Right.
you're up there. And I have seen so many local businesses or restaurants or retail stores where the picture that they've got up there is maybe, like one, picture of the map on them, and then probably that drive-by Google camera that went by when they were mapping by, and it's just like usually a non-flattering, image of, the side of their building. So, that's it. Again, that's going to be the first impression a lot of folks have of your business, because the first place they're going to turn to when they're looking, for tie near me, or women's shoes within 20 miles, for this brand, is going to be that image stuck on your Google My Business, or your Yelp, or your Travelocity, but definitely the Google My Business. Lock that down. If you haven't locked down your Google My Business, you need to go stop what you're doing and go do that right now.
Right.
And just check it out.
Yes, and you can search it yourself. And you the process that we use is claiming, right? So we would go in and work on claiming it, and that's a huge and valuable tool. So thank you. That's because I know that's something of how do you even know if do I have access to it? Do I not have access to it? I know that's come up before. So I want to pass something back to you, John, that you talked about, that people are using more things than just Google for search. I know that I know that you've taught me this, that YouTube is the second largest search engine, and I've even seen it play where social media, example, Facebook is really coming up from a search, like people are using it for search to find local businesses.
Yes.
Have you seen that on from the stuff that you're following?
No doubt, and really, Facebook already has what Google tried to do with Google Plus, and making it a social experience of sharing your reviews between friends, or making them visible friend to friend, so that you could, something that if you were on Google Plus and I was on Google Plus and you went down the street to, I don't know, Sonic or something like that, and you left them a 5-star review because their hot wings are fantastic, and the next time I search for Sonic, then ideally what would happen is Google says, oh, Whitney's been here, they had a great time. Well, Facebook's doing that right now because the social network was there. All they had to do was pretty much just plug in the local element.
Right.
And so that's a huge opportunity. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was at home and one of my wife's friends came over, and her friend had seen on social media where a local company that my wife works for had posted an item for sale on their social media page, and it was like there was 3 degrees of separation, but her friend had heard about it just indirectly. And so the social sharing aspect of it has great potential as well. So not only can I go search for a business and see, oh, well, so-and-so, three of my friends like this, well, that's a positive booster for me to go, incentivizer for me. But, there's the sharing aspect. So if a business has a sale, and I have friends that see that sale and they share the post, that increases their visibility just from an organic perspective.
And I would agree. I think one of the big advantages and where I've seen search in Facebook increase is the fact if I search for something, it's going to tell me my friends who recommend it, not just, from a Google perspective, there's 136 reviews for a business, but that's not what my friends think about it.
That's
So
great.
that is a huge different, it's different behavior and consumer tactic to consider. And so while we're on the topic of, well, actually I'll pause. Grace, do we have any questions or anything?
Not at the moment. You're doing good.
Perfect. Okay, trying to get my lane in.
Everything completely correct.
Channeling the inner lane.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're talking about social media.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm going to have my business page. I'm a new business. I know I've got to have my page up. That's already check. I know that I want my friends to see it. Check. But what are some strategies that I can use? I know with with some of your clients that you're working with to help them in a local market to even be seen by people.
Well, one of the first things you've got to start doing is building up your followers, your fans, and you can invite all of your friends, to come like your website, but what you really need to start doing is finding, people who are likely to be your consumers, people who are interested in what you have to sell or serve them, and start, not only, finding them, on an advertising aspect on Facebook, but also trying to build up that organic following, because what you're going to find is that, whenever you post something organically, Facebook's only going to let you reach about 10% of that market per post. So the larger your fan base, the larger that organic reach you're going to start to build. One great thing I love to do with my clients is contests. If there's anything, especially if it makes sense for you to be giving away something, like if you are a heating and air, a place like doing stuff in the summer, it might make sense to give away a Yeti cooler because you've got that, keep your drinks as cool as your home, as we keep your home. And what you can do is put a little bit of ad budget to target that a little bit, so you know that you're hitting the people that maybe for heating and air folks, that own homes. And then, you can, tell folks, hey, like, share, this, and you start to get this organic avalanche viral feel to it. And then try to make sure that folks, that anything you do, the copy, the graphics, reflects that audience. So.
Okay, that makes sense. We'll pause and come back to that. Grace, what's the question?
Question is, can you target, how do you know you can target someone?
Is then saying, okay, we've got, this many, million, homeowners on Facebook in the U.S. You drill that down to, okay, I just want to, reach people in Maumelle, because I'm a realtor in Maumelle that's looking for people that have been in their home over 15 years that might be, looking to, sell or move by, or however you want to reach homeowners. But that is just right there for the taking. And then what you really want to start doing is, once you've got your homeowners, how else do you want to filter and segment that out? Are you looking for people with a certain income? Are you looking for people that also have children, because you're looking for people that your private school that's wanting to find folks that have homes nearby in the neighborhood and also have children in this age group. And there's just, it's amazing the amount of data that Facebook has been able to collect that can really benefit anybody that's looking to promote a service they provide or sell an item or a brand that they provide. It's and it just continues to grow every day, that amount of data that's available.
Yes, no, I completely agree with you. And I would add in that it's really about thinking who your customer is. And I know that we've talked about this, almost in every show, we're always talking about know your customer, right? And it's especially on a local opportunity, you can partner with other local businesses, and you can build a strategy for the two of you to have a partnership. Example, maybe you have maybe it's an HVAC service industry and it's summertime, and you can partner with like a local ice cream parlor. And the two of you can have a shared partnership and build your audiences together. It's like, if you do service here, then you can get a discount here, or a group, something to help promote kind of that local feel. Like, that's definitely something that's, it doesn't have to be franchised out or anything, but it can be just a local partnership.
Yeah.
And that's, I've seen, provide really good engagement on social and get that local feel for the audience.
Yeah, I like to describe that to my clients as a trampoline effect, where you are the bowling ball, and the other vendor that has a different industry, but there's some synergy between your customers is the trampoline. And what those are going to do is, those two forces, the weight of the trampoline with the spring, or the weight of the bowling ball with the weight of the spring of the trampoline, is just going to send that campaign through the roof.
Absolutely. And I've seen even a trend where people are shopping local. They're looking for things that are near them, and from that, I know we've talked about micro moments in search, and it's I want to go, I want to know, and I want to learn more. And so you're looking at the I want to be. So it's like, I want to know where I'm going and get directions, and what's open, and then I want to go there, and then I want to compare it to other people, so I need to be in that experience, and those micro moments are super timely. And those are things that, because we know that that's how people use search engines, that we use that and build it into our strategy, right? From a social standpoint, I know we also have the ability to get hyper local from an ad perspective too.
Oh yeah.
So beyond just targeting and going after just behaviors and interests, we also have the ability to get really focused on physical location. So it could be that a restaurant, as you described, could be, I want to let people know that I'm in this physical location, and so how far do I think people are willing to drive? And you can run a special, even maybe it's happy hour. You run a happy hour special within a 5-mile radius, and it's only during an hour before happy hour until it's over.
Yeah.
That's an opportunity to promote that to people who you think would drive to that space.
Yeah. Think about, so like from that happy hour perspective, that you have a lot of people that live nearby and so you want to be targeting them in those nearby neighborhoods. You say, it's Pleasant Valley or Hill Valley or the neighborhoods I want to be targeting. But you might also want to say, well, I know that the majority of the people that live in this neighborhood, they either work in this office park by the river or this office park downtown, and I want to also be hitting them at the same time, maybe around lunchtime, maybe around 3 o'clock, to let them know, hey, happy hour's coming up.
Right.
And we're on your way home.
Right.
Stop by, call a friend.
Right. Uber it on the way out.
Yeah.
Partner with local Uber. There it is.
Yes.
So what would we call, like if I wanted to learn about that service, what is it?
The service that I'm thinking about is a service that is a proprietary service of ours called Jopio Direct. That's it's hyper local because what we're doing is we're tying physical addresses to IP addresses.
Okay.
So your IP address is, of course, how we know you get the internet.
Right,
It's your
your
internet
Wi-Fi.
provider.
Right.
It's your Wi-Fi. It's your cell phone provider. It's that unique identifier to a single internet consumer.
Right. Well, and so even from that, like let's go one more layer down in granular, okay?
All right.
So we are right next to a big building, right? Like multi-layer building. It's where our office is. If there were let's say we were Brave, this restaurant that's next to us, and that restaurant wanted to offer a special just to people who work at that building, you could do a custom ad and target the employees and say, there's an employee discount offered at our restaurant 2 blocks away. Right, let us know. And so we have that from a Doppio Direct, and then, so that's a tactic and a strategy there. There's also the ability to do geofencing, which is where we essentially put a fence around a radius and promote anybody that's in that kind of walking area or driving that passes through. They're given a special offer or just a notification that something is available.
Yeah.
And that can be more than just social. It can also be on your Spotify platform. It could be banners that follow you around from a behavior standpoint. So the websites you go to, the social platforms, it kind of crosses those boundaries.
Yeah, your apps even. And I think one of the things to say about geofencing is just the sophistication that's developing within that targeting. It used to be that for a while you could only target within 5 miles or something, and then they broke the mile barrier. And now what I'm seeing is that we're actually able to get within a few 200 to 300 feet of something, depending on how much population's in there, of course, on a case-by-case basis. But if you're like some of these car dealerships like to cluster around together, there are, I know, car dealers that are going around and they are geofencing their competition because they know that if you're buying this brand truck, you're probably also comparing it to the brand that's on their lot as well.
Exactly. Well, and another thing I know Grace is telling us to wrap it up. So, but John, I want to get this in. There's a way that through the analytics, like if following the dealership example, they have zip codes that they want to, like they identified a gap. We can, kind of look what kind of traffic is coming into their site from that as well. Right? That's part of your process.
Totally.
Is to do an analysis on where people are actually coming in and saying, yes, there's a gap there. You're not getting, to help kind of justify that gap. Right. And so we help. That's one of the things that we do is provide that kind of consultation. So I think that those are all great tactics. And so today what we've talked about, just to wrap this up, today it was about hyperlocal and hyperlocal marketing and tactics. And some of the great key takeaways are about the advantage and importance of online listings, making sure that information is claimed, making sure it's correct, making sure it's up to date. And, some of the pro tips are, first of all, go check for yourself and see where you are and make sure that information is correct. We also talked about social media and how that's used as not only a search engine, how reviews have the importance and have value, and some different marketing tactics from Pittman with contest on social media, also how to use geofencing and Doppio Direct IP lookup. So all of these are great services and tactics that you should explore or you know, call Pittman and have him kind of talk you through this process and know that you've got a great team behind you. So that's all we have today for the Midday Roast. Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to share and tag your friends. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.